Muhammad the Prophet, according to the teaching of Imam W.D. Muhammad, is the original and the leader, the original leadership for social purpose on the earth. And if we can refer to the pursuit of social purpose as God intended it for man as socialism, then Muhammad the Prophet is the purest socialist leader. The argument to Adam in the garden is that if God, who created you, is not permitting you knowledge of everything that he has created and not giving you access to that, then the conclusion of that argument is that God himself is unjust to his creation. And in the estimation of the communist thinkers, communist philosophers, Marx and Engels, that because of that, there is no real God. So from this influence comes the idea that man is his own God. And that there is no order or discipline or authority to be obeyed except man's authority. And so where does this argument present itself as an influence in Christianity? The Sanhedrin, the Sadducees, and the Pharisees, they argue, or they take a position that they are the defenders and the construct of order, and that their law and authority must be absolutely obeyed. And that Jesus Christ, in his thinking, is a resistance to their authority, that they represent earthly, worldly, temporal authority, the state, and the power of the state. And in that power is also the claim to righteousness. So it's not just temporal authority, but it is also considered to be moral authority. And Christ is attempting to reason with those that have been influenced by that this is an injustice, and that this is not the way of Abraham. This is not the way that God intended human society to be constructed. That human society must be constructed with respect for the will of the people in conjunction with a overriding moral consciousness and discipline. And that moral discipline and consciousness is tied to God's authority above temporal authority. And Jesus Christ argues that this is a discipline in every human individual. So America says that its eternal foe is the communist idea on the earth. And it shapes its political philosophy as a bulwark or a defense against what they called at one time the Red Menace. capitalist idea is that the wealth, resources of the earth are necessary to provide the foundation for social progress, and that any human individual that has a work discipline and a quantity of knowledge is entitled to use the resources of the earth as capital for its progress. And that within that use of capital or material wealth, there is also a moral discipline to care for those that do not have that knowledge. That principle or philosophy leads to the idea of democratic order and democratic principles. That's the way that they reason. And that is the tension or the conflict between capitalism and communism. That the material wealth and access to material wealth is in the hands of the moral individual. That's the capitalist system that leads to the idea of democracy. And, or you could say the democratic order that accommodates the capitalist idea, as contrasted with that the means, material wealth, material resources, and everything that extract, the knowledge that extracts it from the earth for the support of society belongs to the conscious order or state to be distributed fairly by the conscious order or state. That's the communist system. What does Islam say? It says that there is the responsibility in the moral individual to pursue his dignity with the support of the material world, and a claim on those pursuits as an obligation to his Lord that created him to care for the life that has not the means. And it also says that those having not the means be given support and access to knowledge and pathways that they can also qualify to accept responsibility for the progress of society. That's what Islam guarantees. And Islam guarantees it not with the authority of the rulers themselves only, or the leaders themselves, but Islam guarantees it by saying that the moral individual is accessible and responsible to the Lord Creator in the same way that the ruling order is. So in Prophet Muhammad's leadership is both an appeal to the authority of the rulers and support for that authority in their support of the moral individual. That's Prophet Muhammad's leadership. Under the discipline of moral conscience that evolves because of the relationship between the human individual and his Lord that created him. So therein is the Ummatul Wusta, as the Quran says, the balanced community. Not capitalists, not communists. The society is ordered to provide balance and justice in the hands and responsibility of moral individuals that cooperate with one another under God's authority.